Hello and welcome to the One Life Church devotional series where we cover the entire Bible in 20 months. Well, today's chapters are Lamentations 5. We finish the book of Lamentations today, and then we begin one of the most classic prophetic books in the entire Bible, that of Ezekiel. Now, Lamentations 5 ends in desperation. Remember, he's followed this carefully structured acrostic method of poetry. Now he just abandons that. Chapter 5, there's no structure. I mean, it is 22 verses, but the acrostic method is no longer there. It's almost like it explodes into chaos. And this is just a desperate communal prayer for God's mercy. He lists a whole group of people that have been suffering. And it's very clear from this book of Lamentations that suffering in silence is not a virtue. This entire book has been this prophet going before God, expressing pain, expressing protest, expressing questions, showing that God allows us to handle pain this way. And then it ends quite paradoxically. It says this, verse 21, restore to us yourself. So it's a request of restoration between the people of Israel and God, that we may return, renew our days of old, unless you've utterly rejected us and are angry with us beyond measure, ... It just ends open-ended like that. It's like, who knows what's going to happen to us? Which essentially is what we're left with suffering. You can't have a theology of suffering that's just neatly tied up in a bow, can you? It's full of questions, and God allows us to ask these questions. Now, Ezekiel was a priest living in Jerusalem during the first wave of the Babylonian attack. Now, remember what the Babylonians did? They spared the city, but they hauled off a wave of prisoners into exile, and Ezekiel was among that first wave. So the book begins 5 years after those events, and Ezekiel is sitting by an irrigation canal or a river near an Israeli refugee camp. If you look at the dates and the times there, it's his 30th birthday or birth month, and the year that he would have been installed as a priest in Jerusalem. But oh, how his life has changed. In the middle of this, he sees a vision. He sees a storm and 4 strange creatures with their wings touching, each with 4 different faces in this massive storm. And then at the very heart of it, there's this fire, there's this glory, there's this lava type look, and he's looking and he's astonished at it. And then he sees wheels under these 4 creatures. Now remember, these creatures, these angelic beings, there's all sorts of symbolism with the face of the lion and the eagle and the ox and the man, but there are wheels underneath these creatures with eyes in them, and wherever the spirit would go, they would go without turning. So there are these intersecting wheels, these massive wheels. Now I'm standing next to this set of bicycles here. Now the wheels are described as enormous, with eyes in them, and they're like perfectly intersecting, so they didn't even have to swivel. They just moved either north, south, east, or west. And it says the spirit was in these wheels, and whenever the creatures moved, I heard a sound of their wings like the roaring of rushing waters, the voice of the Almighty like a tumult in an army. And now above the wheels were the creatures, and above the creatures was this glowing platform, and on this glowing platform there was a throne, and on the throne there was this majestic being glowing with fire. And these are descriptions of the glory of God. And it's like God riding his chariot. That's like the picture language that we're being showed right now. Now the word glory, the glory of God in the Hebrew means weighty, means heavy. And it's the word that the authors of the Bible use to describe the presence of God. And so verse 28 says, like the appearance of a rainbow in the cloud on a rainy day was the radiance around him, around God on his throne. This was the appearance of the likeness of the glory of God. When I saw it, I fell down, and I heard the voice of one speaking to me. Now, the most astonishing thing about this is the fact that the glory of God is being presented to him in Babylon. when we hear about the glory of God, it's either on Mount Sinai, it's over the Ark of the Covenant in Jerusalem. But here's, Ezekiel, he's in the middle of Babylon. What is the glory of God doing in Babylon? What is God doing, presenting himself to Ezekiel here? That's the great mystery of the first chapter as we enter this amazing book. God's about to speak to his people. He never leaves you alone. Never leaves me alone. Wants to talk to you. Wants to present his presence to you, just as he did to Ezekiel.